everyone. Today's discussion is all about nouns that are plural in form but singular in meaning. This is the special nouns part 2 of our previous lesson, which is about nouns that are plural in form and in meaning. So last time, we have discussed the different kinds of nouns that are plural in form and in meaning. We have the paired nouns such as pincers, scissors, tweezers, slacks, braces, dungarees, pants, tongs, binoculars, spectacles, socks, forceps, shorts, sneakers, eyeglasses, jeans, shears, overalls, pliers, pajamas, slippers, gloves or mittens, earrings, and headphones. They are called plural because they always come in pair, meaning to say there are always two. The next one is miscellaneous nouns. The miscellaneous nouns are not on the paired nouns category because they have or they do not come in pair, but rather they are always they always have a plural meaning. So examples of these are savings, earnings, wages, belongings, minutes, surroundings, outskirts, archives, eaves, goods, proceeds, nuptials, aborigines, indigenous, soapsuds, stairs, clothes, premises, riches, furnishings, remains, ruins, leftovers, contents, thanks, congratulations, and tidings. Today's focus, on the other hand, is nouns that are plural in form but singular in meaning. When we say plural in form, they end with S, but even though they end with S, their meaning is still singular. Today, you will be learning 5. The first one is diseases or infection, fields of studies, geographical places, miscellaneous nouns, and lastly, number 5, organizations and companies that end with S. And at the end of this lesson, you will know that these kinds of nouns always take verb with S or linking verbs such as is, was, has, and does. So let us begin with the first one. Our first is diseases or infections. The first kind of disease is arthritis, which is common to old people. This is a joint pain or joint disease. Number 2, colitis refers to inflammation of the inner lining of the colon, which is common when we usually eat noodles and instant food, especially also when you eat those burnt food like isaw, barbecue. So if you often eat this one, it might cause colitis, or worst is colon cancer. Next one, Number three is diabetes. Diabetes is a chronic condition associated with abnormal high levels of sugar, glucose in the blood. So the basic cause of this is because we always eat something sweet or we drink Coke and other soft drinks. So it increases a lot of our sugar in our body, which will affect our body and might cause frequent urination, lack of energy, increased thirst, weight gain, and the worst is slow healing whenever you have wounds. Next, you have excess sleep, and the last one is blurred vision. So be careful in eating sweets because it has a long-lasting bad effect in your body. Next one is osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a bone disease that occurs when the body loses too much bone, makes too little bone, or both. And this is mainly caused because of lack of calcium. So if you're not drinking too much milk, you better drink milk right now to make your body's bone strong and healthy. If you're fond of drinking a lot of soft drinks, we better stop drinking those because that could terribly hurt your body and especially your bones. The next one is measles, which is common to young children. Measles starts with fever, runny nose, cough, red eyes, and sore throat. In Tagalog of this is tigdas, and this is a virus. So we need to say, if you go to school with measles, you may be able to affect other people, especially your classmates, and they may have measles as well. And this one is a very painful disease, and sometimes some of those people who have measles shivers at night or shivers because of high fever. Next one is mumps, which is also common to children like you. Mumps or Beke is a viral disease caused by the mumps virus. So especially if you're going to school and you have mumps or beke, you will be sent home because you are having a contagious and viral disease, and it may be from one person to another, so it's passable. And the main things to look forward to this is that you have fever, muscle pain, headache, poor appetite, you feel tired, and of course the visible effect is that you will have a very painful swelling on one or both of your parotid salivary glands. That's why it looks like this. And then you put tina or the violet one on that parotid gland so that according to people, it would somehow relieve the pain. Next one is rickets. The rickets is the softening and weakening of bones in children, usually because of an extreme and prolonged vitamin D deficiency. So this is your normal legs, but if you have rickets, then your legs would look like this. Why? Because of deficiency in vitamin D. Next one is paralysis. Paralysis is the loss of muscle function in part of your body. Usually this happens when you meet accidents. So you have to be careful because paralysis is like a living person without being able to move parts of your body. So it's very painful for you and even to your family as well. Next is neuritis. Neuritis is an inflammation of a peripheral nerve or nerves, usually causing pain and loss of function. So neuritis is a pain in the nerve. Phlebitis, on the other hand, is similar to varicose veins, and these are common to old women, especially for our grandmothers. So you can see that this is the normal legs. Probably you have these kinds of leg right now, but the other one, especially when you grow older, you would see these varicose veins, and this is because valves does not close properly and it is inflamed. Okay, that may cause pain and a lot of swelling. Next one is rabies. Rabies is a deadly virus spread to people from the saliva of infected animals. So if you have pets at home, you make sure that they have yearly anti-rabies shot, or else when you're bitten or scratched by affected animals, you might die. Okay, that is the reason why whenever we're bitten or scratched by our pets, we automatically go to the hospital and get our shot immediately. Next one is conjunctivitis. Conjunctivitis happens when the transparent layer of your tissue that lines the inner surface of the eyelid and that which covers the white part of the eye becomes a pink eye. So this is your normal eye, and when it becomes a pink eye, there is something wrong with your eye. That is through conjunctivitis. So you have to be careful with your eyes, right? Especially right now that we are on our online classes. Next one is gingivitis. Gingivitis is very common to children right now. Why? Because they do not brush their teeth or they brush their teeth very hard. This occurs when there is an inflammation of the gums and which usually caused by a bacterial infection. Lastly, the bad thing about gingivitis is it will cause you to have bad breath. And you don't want to have bad breath, isn't it? Next one is cystitis. Cystitis is similar to UTI. So I believe that you have already experienced UTI and it is not a good disease. So you better be careful with what you eat and of course lessen your soft drinks. Next one is rhinitis. Rhinitis is wherein you always sneeze and then your colds, you are having runny nose, so that is rhinitis, and sometimes you're having headache and fever because of rhinitis. So this one is caused by viruses, bacteria, irritants, or allergens. Next one is scabies, and scabies is because of mites. So these are from our pets as well. Okay, so they lay egg and then sometimes they will bite us. That will cause pink pimple-like skin rash, and it is very, very itchy. So you have to be careful with the pets that you have at home. Make sure that they have also, aside from the anti-rabies shot, you also give them the anti-mite or anti-kuto shots, because if not, it will greatly affect you and it might move from one part of your body to the rest of your body, which is very terrible in what you feel. Next one is shingles. And shingles is somewhat like scabies, wherein this is a viral infection that causes a painful rash. So, although a shingles can occur anywhere on your body, it is most often appears as a single stripe of blisters that wraps around either the left or the right side of your torso, just like this one. And the most common is that it is painful, burning, it feels numb, it's tingling, it may cause fever, headache, and fatigue. Okay, so this one is a viral disease. Next, which is common to children right now, we have tonsillitis. And tonsillitis is where your throat or your tonsils becomes swollen. And another one is that you have intense fever. This is a viral and bacterial disease. And we know that children usually have tonsillitis because of eating too much sweets. So sometimes, if your tonsillitis is worse, then you can have your tonsillitis be operated and removed. And I think most of you would relate to this one. The last is stress. So stress is our body's response to pressure. Many different situations or life events can cause stress. It is often triggered when we experience something new, unexpected, or that threatens our sense of self, or when we feel we have little control over a situation. Stress is not just for adults. You can also experience stress even nowadays. So you have to be careful. You have to be responsible with how you manage your time to avoid stress. Now, let us move on to the fields of studies. For the fields of studies, these are the subjects that we learn in school, specifically if we go to college. What are some examples of fields of studies that ends with S but are singular in meaning? We have aeronautics. So if you wanted to be a pilot, you can study aeronautics. Phonetics is the study of the sounds of the alphabet. Politics is for those who wanted to be senators, presidents, or even mayors of this country. Optics is the study of the eyes. Economic studies about the population growth and also the money of the Philippines, the import, the export of goods for our country. Next is mathematics. Mathematics, of course, is always a study that you usually have from your preschool going to your college. Next, civics is the study of history. Statistics tells us numbers. It tells us data. Say, for example, you wanted to know how many people loves to play ML over Roblox. So you can do a statistics, a survey. And with that, you can make a study about it. Next is acoustics. Acoustics is the study of sounds. Physics is more on a study of nearing chemistry, and this is where chemistry and physics, like you invent things. So these two subjects are studied in high school. Poetics is the study of making poems. So if you're fond of making spoken poetry or simple poems, then you can use that in poetics. Aerobics is basically one way of us exercising our bodies. Now, to further understand this, there's one exception to the rule with regard to the fields of studies. Okay, so certain words end in X are singular when they refer to principles, a system, or a field of study. In these instances, the noun takes a plural verb. However, when these nouns refer to individual practice or application of activities, they generally take a plural verb. Samples are statistics, physics, mathematics, electronics, economics, politics, aerodynamics, mechanics, calisthenics, etc. Example. Here, you will know that this is singular because this is a field of study. Statistics is a required course for doctoral students. Now, statistics here is used as plural because look, the statistics on child abuse are alarming. The statistics here is plural because this is the application. Okay? Meaning to say the number. So we know that there is a number or a data of child abuse. This one is singular because this is one subject, but the other one statistics here is plural because this is the data, or these are the data on the child abuse. Okay? So you have to check whether it is singularly used or plural. The next one are the miscellaneous nouns. The miscellaneous nouns are nouns that do not fall under the first two categories. We have billiards, which is a game, news, checkers, molasses, which are common food for livestock, gallows, and gallows is one of the form of punishment in the early times because it is done through execution publicly by hanging. Next, we have the shambles. Shambles is a slaughterhouse or a meat yard. This is where pigs, cows, and other livestock are being killed so that they can be sold in our public market. Next, number 4, we have geographical places that end in S. So these are places that, yes, end in S, but is always considered singular. These are the following. We have Philippines, United States, Wales, Brussels, Bahamas, Naples, Netherlands, Navotas, Athens, General Santos, Ilocos. We also have Maldives. We also have Laos, United Arab Emirates, Cyprus, Belarus, Guimaras. So some of these are places in the Philippines and some of these are places all around the world. And even though they end in S, they are still considered singular. The last one are organizations or companies that end in S. So as you can see, these may end in S, but they are always considered singular. Examples of which are the Manila Times. So this is a kind of newspaper. Next, Delta Motors, McDonald's, the United Nations, the Beatles, and of course, Toys R Us. So as we can see, all these organizations and company names end with S. But even so they end in S, they are always considered singular. To summarize today's lesson, we have learned that nouns that are plural in form but singular in meaning are the following. We have diseases or infections, fields of studies, geographical places, miscellaneous nouns, and organizations and companies that end with S. Now, let us move on to the subject-verb agreement rule about it. Always remember that these nouns should always take verb with S or is, was, has, and does. Let me repeat. The subject-verb agreement rule for the nouns that are plural in form but singular in meaning such as diseases, infections, subjects, fields of studies, geographical places, companies, organizations, and miscellaneous nouns, the verb should always be with S, is, was, has, and does. Now let's try to have an activity to let us know if you really understand the lesson. All you need to do is to encircle the correct verb that will agree with the subject to complete the sentence. Are you ready? If yes, let's begin. The United States have not completed its investigation in the World Trade Center disaster. The correct answer is has. Why? Because United States is singular. 2. Our nation's military tactics needs review and radical improvement. The correct answer for this is needs because our subject is tactics. 3. General Motors have already closed their shop due to pandemic. The correct answer for this is has. Number 4. The gallows was where a threat to criminals in early times. correct answer for this is, of course, was. Number 5. News reaches all parts of the world through sound waves. The correct answer should be reaches. Now let's move on to activity 2. All you need to do in activity 2 is to encircle the correct verb that will agree with the subject to complete the sentence. This time, you are given 1 minute to answer the given. If you are ready, let's get started. Okay, so now let's answer our given quiz. Number 1, ethics is. Number 2, the shambles has. Number 3, the United Nations has. Number 4 is a place, that's why our verb should be is. Number 5, the Manila Times should be publishes because it's a name of a company. Number 6, molasses. Molasses is singular, therefore use is. 7, rabies is because it's a disease. Athletics is a field of study, so your answer should be is. Rickets is a disease, your answer should be is. And lastly, statistics being a field of subject, your answer should be is. Were you able to get all the items correctly? If yes, very good. You were able to understand this completely. Once again, let us summarize the lesson that you have learned today. The lesson for today is nouns that are plural in form but singular in meaning. We have learned about the following: diseases or infections, fields of studies, geographical places, miscellaneous nouns, and organizations and companies that end with S. Remember, all these 5 words should take verb with S, is, was, has, and does. Thank you very much, and I hope that you have understand something new for today. You may encounter these words in your everyday dictionaries or vocabularies, so you now know how to use them in sentences. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again on our next lesson. Goodbye!